Like it or not, San Francisco changes every few decades. The gold rush, the summer of love, the tech boom, this city means something different to everyone. The city, or SF, is a city of opportunity and innovation, but it's also a city of WTF because it's full of dichotomies. It's beautiful and dirty, it's culturally diverse and homogeneous, it's so expensive, but has an ever-increasing visible homeless population throughout the city.
I was born in San Francisco and I've lived in and out of the city my entire life. I've seen visitors come in and out of the city, leaving San Francisco with an absolute fascination, dying to come back, while I've also heard other people saying they didn't really like it much because they didn't really know where to go beyond all of the extremely touristy destinations that they may have seen on some travel blog about San Francisco. So in today's video, we are going to talk about the top local things you need to know before your trip to San Francisco. If you are planning to visit here, yes, this is California, but do not come to San Francisco with shorts and tank tops. San Francisco is 7 by 7 square miles, and we have something called microclimates. Every mile you go, the weather changes. On one block, you could be sitting outside having a great brunch, which is a pastime in San Francisco, wearing a t-shirt, enjoying the sun. But by walking just a few streets down, the wind will start blowing, the fog rolls in, and it gets cold by California standards. If warm, sunny weather is your concern, the best time to visit San Francisco is September and October. And no matter when you are visiting San Francisco, always bring layers. Jackets and sweatshirts are must-pack items. San Francisco has an extremely open, accepting tolerance of anything outlandish, absurd, and freaky. We say more power to you if you want to wear a unicorn costume and walk through Golden Gate Park on any given day. Do you? We also don't care if you show up to dinner in leggings and a flannel or thigh-high boots and a dress. Wear whatever you want to wear. There's no pressure here. You can also choose to not wear anything if your heart so desires, because being naked in San Francisco is totally legal. And ever so often, you might see someone exercising this right, but it's not that common. So don't get your hopes up. If you want to get real freaky and you're here in September, check out the Folsom Street Fair. This is a full-on leather festival, if you know what I mean. So be warned, this is the freakiest public display you will ever see on stage out for free at a festival in San Francisco. Good luck. So what I'm saying is, generally San Francisco is a city of non-conformity, but it does have many personalities. Each neighborhood has its own look, vibe, and feel. So you can almost accurately stereotype someone based on the neighborhood that they live in. For example, if I were to say, he lives in the marina, we immediately picture a bro wearing a popped collar, sandals, probably khaki shorts, and definitely talking about his old fraternity. If you see someone wearing a t-shirt with a startup name and a puffy vest or jacket from, let's say, Patagonia or any other high-end outdoor brand, that is the tech sector uniform. People in San Francisco love to dress up in costume. You might be entering a bar and everyone is in costume, or you might be taking the BART and everyone is in costume. Every year we have the Bay to Breakers, where people run from the bay to the ocean. And directly after that morning race, the rest of the city walks the race and it becomes a huge costume party. Most everyone is wearing a ridiculous costume or nothing at all. In San Francisco, you do not need a car because public transportation is cheap and reliable enough. Keyword, enough. Walking the city is really the best way to see the city and see all the different neighborhoods. The city is linked by two main public transportations, Muni and BART. Muni is the bus and metro system that operate throughout the entire city, operating buses, trains, and cable cars. BART is the underground metro system, and it doesn't always run on time. You could be waiting for 5 minutes or 20 minutes sometimes. So it's best to check the schedules and make sure you plan ahead with these public transportation options. The last BART train runs around midnight, so if you are late night partying, you can probably just take a Lyft. If you do have a car and you want to use it to get around the city, that's totally fine, but you need to do this before you do anything. Download a parking app to keep your car safe. You need to do this because break-ins happen all the time, every day. Don't ever leave anything visible in your car. Honestly, don't even leave anything in the trunk. It's just not worth the break-ins. They do happen all the time. So make sure that you download either of these two apps, Spot Hero or Parking Panda. I use Spot Hero and it's so great. I can find parking in the city for like $5, sometimes $10 for entire 24 hours. There's usually a parking attendant where I park, or it's in a gated garage area. So it's super useful and very necessary. Overall, San Francisco's neighborhoods are not dangerous. However, unlike cities where most of their homeless are relegated to one area of the city, San Francisco's homeless population is visible throughout the entire city. And for this reason, there's no single area that you can avoid if you don't want to deal with this. There is a correlation between homelessness and psychiatric issues and drug addiction, and people visiting are often unprepared or upset by some of these interactions. So I recommend that you avoid a neighborhood called the Tenderloin. Avoid it at all costs. This neighborhood is known for its street drug trade and is dense with homelessness and people with drug addiction and psychiatric issues. Sometimes they can get aggressive. The Tenderloin does border some of San Francisco's most prominent shopping and tourist districts. And while there are many delicious restaurants in the Tenderloin that I've frequented before, if you're traveling to San Francisco, if you're a visitor here, I just recommend that you navigate away from the Tenderloin because there are a lot of people on those streets that are dealing with drug addiction. The hills are real. You will totally get your best calf workout ever by just walking around the city. San Francisco wouldn't be the city without these crazy hills. But the great thing about walking around San Francisco and hiking up all of these hills is, well, number one, you gotta work out, and number two, you got views of the city and the bay from so many different vantage points.
I am in my favorite place in San Francisco right now. I'm sitting at the edge of the cliffs of Land's End where there are a ton of coastal trail hikes. This is one of my favorite spots to come to when I feel like I need to get out of the city because there's a ton of coastal trail hikes around here and it feels removed. It feels kind of remote. It's just very peaceful and quiet.
If you haven't heard this a million times, San Francisco is a very expensive city, but there are so many places that you can walk around for free and you can really enjoy San Francisco on a budget. From a local's perspective, honestly, I would say all of the free spots in San Francisco are the best spots to go to because you can enjoy the outdoors, you can enjoy the nature, the parks. You don't have to be spending money every single day in San Francisco. Walking around and going to all these free open areas is part of the whole experience. So save your money and enjoy some of these free places that are also must-see spots in San Francisco. The Palace of Fine Arts, Baker Beach, Sutro Baths, Golden Gate Park, Washington Square Park, Land's End. Within a day's drive of San Francisco, you have everything you could ever want. Muir Woods is a very famous old grove redwood forest, which is just across the Golden Gate Bridge in Marin County. You can drive a little bit further north and visit Napa Valley and Sonoma County, which is our wine country. You can also head east about 4 hours and visit Yosemite National Park. During the winter months, you can truly go surfing in the morning here in Pacifica, which is just south of San Francisco, and skiing in the afternoon if you head to Lake Tahoe, where most of the ski resorts are in Northern California. There's really no end to all the adventuring here in San Francisco and all the surrounding areas for all of you budding explorers or anyone that hasn't visited the San Francisco Bay Area. There are countless opportunities to venture further from the city, which will give you that entire California experience. There's really no reason not to visit San Francisco. You're gonna have a great time and it's guaranteed to be memorable. For everyone watching, if you're San Francisco Bay Area locals, comment down below if I missed some insider local tips to share with everyone else, in the world. Thanks for watching, thanks for being here everyone, and if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel right there, click the thumbs up, and until next time, take on the world.